Welcome to Social Biz, our new video series at Red Tie Media where we focus on social media marketing. So our new Red Tie content focuses on social media, social tech, and social marketing. This is the social marketing wing of the new content. We're going to talk a lot on this show about how businesses and even people can market themselves on social media and how best to go about doing that, the tips and tricks. We're also going to look at case studies and stats. So this is really more of an in-depth kind of a show in terms of marketing. Today I thought it would be good to start with a little bit of a primer on social media marketing, how exactly a business goes about doing it, what exactly it means, and kind of tying into why we call this show Social Biz. The first lesson to learn when you want to put your new business or your business on social media is it's not just putting up a Facebook or Twitter profile. It's completely changing the dynamic and the motive of your marketing strategy. What do I mean by this? Well, previously marketing was one way. We talk about marketing in terms of television commercials and PR, and you're just talking to your consumers or your customers. Nobody is talking back to you, at least not in any instantaneous way. Now in social media, it's about engaging, it's about interacting, it's about talking with them and having conversations. The other important thing to note, everyone goes into social media thinking they'll have all these new customers and it'll be great, which is usually not the case. The fact of the matter is, studies have shown the vast majority of people that are going to follow you on Twitter or that are going to like you on Facebook or any other social media channel are already people that buy your product, that use your service, that know you. So really social media is not so much about gaining new people, and that's certainly part of it, and as you get bigger and as you go along, you'll gain new people. Certainly not an instantaneous way to gain new people, but what it really is a tool for you to keep your current customers happy and keep them coming back and hopefully make them kind of cheerleaders for your business. They go out and tell their friends on social media about you, then their friends follow you, and that's how you start gaining momentum. Also, you need to know that Twitter and Facebook are blank slates. Now, I know people like to stereotype these two mediums. They like to tell you Twitter's this, Facebook's that. That's not necessarily the case. All Twitter is a blank box with a 140 character limit. You can put whatever you want in that blank box. Be creative, make stuff up. The best and most viral social media campaigns are the ones that are new, creative, and innovative, not the ones that are bland like all the others. But keeping with this idea of stereotyping, what are the most common applications of Twitter? Well, for Twitter specifically, the most common application I see, and even for Facebook, is customer service. You want to diffuse bad situations, you want to diffuse negative comments, you want to respond to people who have problems, or you want to respond to people who have positive things to say. Either way, most people, most businesses seem to be using these two channels to essentially communicate with customers that are kind of disgruntled and to help them out. So in keeping with that, looking at how you can best go about that, I think the number one way that you need to go about, my number one tip on Twitter for at least, is to be personal. If you're going to use it for customer service, people like to know who's helping them. Dell kind of pioneered this model when they first jumped into the Twitterverse. The idea is at Dell you have someone's name at Dell. So Mark at Dell is his Twitter account. And he will respond to people and help people. But at the same time, your Twitter accounts from Dell employees, like Mark at Dell, for instance, which I don't know if is a real one or not, but Mark might tweet about something that he likes personally. He might tweet about something personal to him. It gives kind of it makes him human. It makes him real, not just a fake account. So that I think is also important. Be personal on Twitter. Allow your employees to have Twitter accounts and let them personally from those accounts, and I would make sure they're branded for the business, but those branded Twitter accounts, let them respond to people, not necessarily the brand account, because the brand account is very kind of cold. It's just a logo and a name. You don't know who's behind it. Even if you put who's behind it in the description, people don't necessarily look at that and know. Be personal, and that's the best way of doing it. So these two social media channels certainly help you keep customers happy, but how do you gain new customers, which is obviously what you would like to do? Well, we're going to talk about Twitter specifically right now. With Twitter, it's about finding your niche. It's about finding what a lot of people call your neighborhood on Twitter. Twitter is kind of piecemealed into all these different areas. There's people who talk about politics, people who talk about cars and social media, all these different things. When you first join Twitter as your brand, you need to go find those people, you need to follow them, you need to listen to them, and you need to engage with them, retweet them, answer questions they might have asked. A lot of people on Twitter just ask open-ended questions. Answer those questions. Engage with people in your niche and in your market. They will slowly begin building trust for you and your brand, and then they'll start following you and retweeting you, and you'll kind of get within that neighborhood. I kind of describe social media as not as a television commercial. A lot of people like to think of it as it's a marketing channel, so it's kind of like a TV commercial, a radio commercial. That's not how it's like at all. I kind of describe Twitter and social media in general as more of a networking conference. So think of how you go into a networking conference. If you go to a conference, you walk into the main conference room, you just don't shout your name out there and shout your product and say, hey, we've got a new lawnmower, come buy our new lawnmower. No, you go up to people, you talk with people, you learn who's there, you find the people who make lawnmowers, and you go talk to the lawnmower people, and then you slowly work into your business conversation. Well, we're doing this, we've got this new product. You don't just shout it out. So don't go on Twitter and start shouting your product and touting yourself as the next greatest thing. A couple more things if you're just getting started on Twitter and Facebook. You have to understand, now there are a lot more social media channels out there. That's number one, what you have to understand. I would start with Twitter and Facebook. Figure out what your niche is, figure out if any of those people in your niche are on other social media networks, Pinterest, Path, Foursquare, whatever, Tumblr, Flickr, there's so many of them. But I would start with Twitter and Facebook because those are the largest, but you have to understand that each social network is different, it has a different purpose, it's going to have different people. But in terms of Twitter and Facebook, they are very different. And the number one thing, my pet peeve, do not push your Twitter updates to Facebook. It's completely different. People expect brands to post less on Facebook and more on Twitter. That's been done in many studies that people have found that they'll just dislike brands if there's too much posting on Facebook. Studies have been done that show you should really only post once a day on Facebook. I would say you can get away with a little more. Nonetheless, you can post a lot more on Twitter because it's a quicker populating stream, people follow more people. The other thing you have to note about Twitter, Twitter is more of an open community and it's more apt for discovery, which is to say people are going to be able to discover you a lot easier on Twitter than they are on Facebook. The thing that Facebook has going for it though, it's a little more of a closed community, but people will discover you through friends, which I think makes those discoveries and those likes that you might get from those people a little more sticky, which is to say they're not going to unfollow you or they're not going to de-like you as quickly. If they know that if one of their friends likes you and they realize that, you know, they might like you as well, that like is a lot more valuable than a follow on Twitter where someone can just go to the new discovery tab on Twitter and find you, but then after a few tweets they decide they don't like you anymore, they defriend you, they unfollow you. In Facebook, it's a little different. If you kind of combine social media with a digital media backbone and create a lot of great video stuff, a lot of great photo stuff, and photos don't have to be these grand photo shoots. It can simply be a behind-the-scenes photo. If you're a chocolate factory, post some photos of the factory line one day, or some of the workers. Photos are actually a great way to humanize your business. Videos are also a great way to humanize your business. Talk to somebody ingrained within the business and post it on social media. People love to hear from those people. Or at least certain people love to hear from them. And it's a great way to humanize your business, and people respond much more favorably and are much more apt to spend more time listening to you through video, audio, and photos. That's it for the first episode of Social Biz. I do not have a Twitter account for the show, and you might think to yourself, why would you do that? You're a social media show. And I say to you, well, because I talked about being personal. I talked about having a personal touch to your brand. And quite honestly, there's not enough content pushing out here that I would have a Twitter account for the show. So tweet me directly. @JacobBodner is where you can go. Anything having to do with the show, you can tweet to me directly. You're getting right into me, and I will talk right back to you. @JacobBodner on Twitter. And you can also subscribe to me on Facebook, also on Google Plus as well. All of our content is available on YouTube at youtube.com/rtiemedia, as well as on redtie.tv/SB.